Rivet crew, happy Tuesday. We're looking at a little mini chipper workout today, if you will. Should take about 10 to maybe 15 minutes or so it's a relatively short time frame, so we're going to go pretty high intensity today. You're starting off with a 1,000 meter row. That's for the men and the women, same distance for everybody, 1,000 meter row. We're going to get up for row, we're going to do 30 deadlifts. Should be on the kind of moderately heavy side. Whatever weight you choose today, we should be able to do at least sets of 5, touch and go sets of 5 on this particular movement. No singles today, so we're going to work through it. Minimum of sets of 5. Feel free to go bigger with your touch and go sets, but 30 deadlifts total. And then we're finishing with 50 lateral burpees, right? So each of these burpees that you do, you're going to jump up and jump over either your kettlebell or your dumbbell, whatever weight, or your barbell, I should say, whatever weight you're using. To finish each burpee. We're doing 50 reps there to finish. So, little mini chipper, row, deadlifts, lateral burpees. Things to think about today. So, the deadlift and the row have a lot of things in common. Let's go over those. So, the first one, probably the most important one, is the fact that it's way more about pushing than it is about pulling. Common mistake here is people look at the row or they look at the deadlifts and they think they want to use their backs, they want to use their arms, they think of it as a pull. It's not. Both these movements are predominantly pushes, and they're predominantly pushes with the lower body, the legs, because that's where all our strong muscles are. We got our glutes, we got our hips, we got our legs, we got everything else. So let's talk about that. I got my rower set up right here. So first off, to get a feel for this today, we're going to do some legs only rowing drills. Right, so we set ourselves up in the catch. What we're looking for here is slightly lean forward, nice flat back, heels down, right? We're kind of pushing through the middle of the foot. So what we're going to practice today is the leg push, right? We're going to practice some legs only rowing. This is where most of the power comes from. This is where most of the power transfer to the flywheel comes from. It's pushing hard with the legs. Ideally, if we're looking at hips and shoulders, they move at the same time while the legs are extending. A common thing here is from people in the catch, people immediately want to throw those shoulders back and then they push with the legs. This does not work very well at all. We actually want to make sure the shoulders and hips move at the same time, which means if the handle moves an inch, the seat should move an inch, right? If this handle moves 2 inches, right, it should move the same way with the handle and the seat. So we push hard, fully extend the knees, then we lean back, then we pull, right? This is our sequence of events on the rower. We'll practice that in class today. And then for deadlifts, much the same thing. For our deadlifts, and these rules apply to barbell, kettlebell, whatever you're deadlifting. When we pull from the ground, right, we're really thinking about pushing our feet down into the ground, so we're pushing with the legs. And ideally, the shoulders and the hips rise at the same time. Common thing here is people will kind of get their deadlift set up like this, and then they'll immediately shoot their hips up in the air. And the two things about this, one, you shoot your hips up and the weight doesn't move, right? You notice my PVC here is not moving, just the hips are moving. And then when you do your deadlift, you're actually focusing more on using your back. So we set ourselves up in our deadlifts, hips and shoulders rise at the same time. In class today, we're just going to work on this is to go just from the floor to the knees, making sure that back angle stays constant, all right? So focus on those two movements. Just to review, push, right? Predominantly, we're pushing with the legs on the rower. Predominantly, we're pushing with the legs on the deadlift. We're making sure those shoulders and hips move at the same time, all right? Good workout today. Come on in, get it done.